Hi guys, Con here. I'm in Greece at a place called the Glorenza Castle, and the reason I'm sharing it with you is because this place has been calling me for a long time. I mean, right now I'd rather be out chasing pussy than documenting this here, but like I said, man, I don't want to be doing this. It's like this is calling me and just saying, I don't know, you got to do this. And yesterday it was confirmed to me personally why this place has been calling me. See, this area here, this coastline that you can see there, all along there, and over to this fortress, which is just down there where I'm going to take you, is where the Nazis entered the Peloponnese. And it was, a lot of that war was scorched earth policy, fucking total annihilation. And that's the war, the invasion my parents lived through. And it was only yesterday that Dad pointed out to me, it was here, right here, along this coastline and a bit further up to this fortress that's attached to this ancient castle of Glorenza, that the Nazis invaded this area. And I can't help but imagine all the warships and all the Nazi stormtroopers with all their modern warfare equipment invading this place, because back then I know for a fact that these people were just poor villagers, and they had nothing. They were living in mud houses. You're probably considered rich if you had a mud house. But this Glorenza castle, which was built in the 13th century, was partially still standing when the Nazis came, but when they invaded and hit the area, I mean, they obviously didn't have any regard for human life, let alone beautiful architecture and history. And I've been drawn to this place, as I said, because this is part of not just my family history, but modern history. So I'll just, yeah, these are part of the walls. These walls, I mean, the building wasn't completely intact when the Nazis came, but these walls were still upright, and some of the towers and window arches were still upright. But the Nazis just came and really fucked shit up. I mean, my parents have told me stories. I'll just keep walking around and I'll show you. Well, I can't switch the camera. Anyway, my parents have told me stories of when the Nazis came into their villages when I was 7 years old. I'll just walk around so you can see the building. When I was 7 years old, we came to Greece in '79, and my granddad showed me where he hid all his kids from the Nazis. One of his boys, because I think there was 9 or 10 kids, Mum had a sister, 11, she died. But one of the kids was out in the village playing, and by the time he got home, the Nazis were there and took him. Now, he was about 7 years old, and he returned home when he was 15. I won't go into too much detail about the horrors of it all. I don't think there's any need to at this point, but I just wanted to document this Glorenza castle, which was built in the 13th century by the French. I didn't even know the French were here. But yeah, I just sort of thought it should be documented. I don't know if it's been documented. I don't really care, but I'm documenting a little bit of it now. I'm going to walk up the road, up there, and I'm going to show you the fortress of Glorenza. And according to my dad, who just told me yesterday, as I said, that was the entrance point the Nazis used to come into the Peloponese, the west coast of Greece. So yeah. So I'm walking along a dirt track through an olive grove along the coastline. Behind me, I've just left the Glorenza castle that I was talking about. And as I said, this is the invasion point of the Nazis into this part of the Peloponnese. And what really strikes me is, I don't know, I just can't help I remember the stories that I've heard, and I just can't help but picture all the Nazi stormtroopers with all their modern war machinery walking along here. I mean, fuck, there's a good chance they walked along this track. I don't think this track's like exactly a fucking modern track. And I mean, if they didn't walk this very track, there's a good chance they walked, well, not there's a good chance, they did walk along here, going in, raping, pillaging, whatever they fucking did. But the thing is, yeah, the Greeks, they put up a good fight. Freedom or death was their thing. I mean, in the Battle of Crete, Hitler thought he'd taken Poland, Czechoslovakia, a couple other countries, and he thought going in through Greece to seal the deal to capture all that part of Europe was going to be a walkthrough. And the Cretans saw guys jumping out of planes. They didn't know what a fucking plane was, let alone paratroopers. And they saw guys jumping out of these planes, Nazis jumping out of these planes, paratrooping down to the ground with their machine guns, ready to kill, massacre, whatever. And the old Greek Cretan men said to their sons and grandkids, get the fuck out of here, run to the mountains. And they picked up their fucking pitchforks and whatever, and they held them off long enough for Australian troops and New Zealand troops and British troops. My history isn't perfect, but you get the picture. It's vaguely right. Yeah, for Australian, British, New Zealand troops to come in and fend them off. The Nazis got through, but they reckon if it wasn't for the Cretans, and then later on the rest of the Aussie boys, the British, the Kiwis, and a handful of Americans, I think, if it wasn't for them slowing down that advance, there was a good chance the tide of the war, the outcome of the war, would have been completely different. And after that war, after that battle, the Battle of Crete, where all the old Cretan farmers used their fucking farming tools to fight off a modern advanced army, Winston Churchill is quoted as saying, "It can now be said that heroes fight like Greeks." So that's pretty cool, you know. But this is the coastline the motherfuckers came in on. All over there. Opposite there is Zakynthos and Kefalonia. The Italians had allied with the Nazis, and they were sent to those islands. But the Greek people were so nice to them. They offered them food and shelter. The Nazis refused to fight and take up arms, and they just ended up AWOLing there and making love to Greek women, eating Greek food, raising beautiful families together. And I guess the ones that were busted were fucking shot. But anyway, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the entrance point of the Nazi invasion of the Peloponese, or this part of the Peloponese. Like I said, my history is very vague. And you can sort of see all the ruins in the background. But the Nazis, when they came, they used this as a base, fortress, camp, whatever you want to call it. This is the remains of it. I mean, I don't know if they just blew the joint up when they left or what the fuck happened. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is the Glorenza Fortress. And once again, for the fucking 500th time, once again for the 500th time, I'm just tweaking my camera skills. This was the entrance point to the Peloponnese for when the Nazis invaded. There she is there. That's a bit of my family history, a bit of Greek history, and international history.